Hi everyone, my name is Tracey and I'll be presenting to you today the learning theory of behaviourism. I will outline the inclusive features that the theory withholds and the elements surrounding the strengths and the limitations. I'll provide an explanation behind how the theory of behaviourism coincides with my personal values and beliefs, and share examples of experiences that I have encountered throughout my learning during primary school and adulthood. I am lucky enough to witness how other children behave within the OSH program I work at. Through observation, it is interesting to see how each individual child reacts differently to a similar scenario encountered, and how habits can form when this theory is applied. Looking more specifically into the features behaviourism withholds, Nigel mentions that behaviourism is based upon the idea of associationism. This is his idea behind behaviour and how it explains the learning process. When learning does occur, this is said to be a change in behaviour that is caused by various experiences. Pavlov experimented on this theory with the use of dogs. He proved that classical conditioning does exist, as he trialled this within his experiment and found it was so. He used a ringing sound to make dogs salivate, without food being in front of them. This occurred numerous times with the use of food, then done so again without food being present. He found that the dogs still salivated due to the association of the sound when food was previously given. By understanding the concept behind doing a deed and an action occurring due to the reassurance of another stimuli, it provides evidence as to how manipulation of behaviour is possible. Operant conditioning is another method of behavioural change where an action taken creates a response. The strength of applying the behaviourism theory is that once behaviour has been created into a habit, or in other words, classical conditioning is practiced, reversal of such actions is possible or can be shifted. This is called the behaviour therapy. Nigel quotes, "Classical conditioning is the basis of behaviour therapy. This explains the reactions to phobias and sexual deviation, why people act the way that they do when they associate something they find fearful due to a specific or recurring experience." Stuart Hamilton mentions that through behaviour therapy, there are ways to modify or redirect the phobias by gradually reducing the connection between the stimuli and response. This is called desensitizing, or in other words, relaxation towards a stimuli. Other ways to redirecting the phobia is by aversion. This is to place the unpleasant element, or so to speak, the nasty element, with something else that is perceived as nice or pleasant. The reinforcement and punishment concept teaches children to acknowledge that by doing good, good will come as a result, and by doing bad, punishment will follow. It enables association to occur, and in turn, easily relate to the grouping of positive behaviour opposed to negative behaviour. A routine and immediate response makes tasks and learning easier within the classroom, and we're needing to capture the attention of the children. Looking at the limitations, children who only do good or behave in an appropriate manner only to gain a reward are doing good for the wrong reasons. The learning process in this instance is aimed at formulating the idea of feeling good once positive behaviour is executed, rather than obtaining a reward. This can easily lead to a negative effect that results to what can also be called bribery. Conn states that rewards shouldn't be implemented for children to learn. He also mentions that rewards, and I quote, dilute the pure joy that comes from success itself, meaning that it strips away or replaces the emotive effects that should be enough motivation to do well. Other limitations include what is mentioned by Stuart Hamilton, that this is creating a controlled learning process that does not complement the cognitive attributes required, thus moulding the children to act the way that they want rather than how they should actually naturally act. Behaviourism also does not take into consideration the mental process and how this is affected. Throughout my early learning years, I found that this theory was used in and out of the classroom. It is the reason behind attitude and actions taken towards situations. I have a strong belief that each individual has the right to learn and understand the appropriate behaviour deemed acceptable within society. This does not mean that all must act the same, it just means that respect and kindness should be implied. I, as a child, was taught to treat others as I would like to be treated. And that is, excuse me, and that is something that has stuck with me. I use this as a means of teaching children within my workplace who disrespect or bully their peers. I witnessed this being an effective way of explaining and introducing ways of empathizing. This creates peace amongst children and it becomes a behaviour that they can further use, as I have throughout the remainder of their life. When I was at school and the teacher would clap a certain rhythm, all would know to copy and wait in silence because it was her turn to speak. At my workplace, if there is an announcement over the speaker, all children will stop what they are doing and place their hands on their head to stop and listen. If it is time to pack up and prepare for school, an educator will sound their whistle and the children know that this is the signal to stop playing and to pack up all of the equipment. These basic techniques that have been embedded allow the routine to occur, as well as a reaction for efficiency and discipline. To conclude, what has been outlined, behaviourism is a fine tool for the successful learning of children. When applied and expectations are understood, children grasp the routine and behaviour that is acceptable. There are strengths behind the theory, but as with everything, limitations are also evident. Pavlov's experiment has allowed for many to follow in his footsteps and to successfully prepare students through habit. I feel as though I can apply this theory within the classroom as I currently find it works when dealing with situations within my current role as an educator. Children relate and comprehend the concept easily no matter what age or level. Thank you for listening to my presentation on the behaviourism theory.